Africans react after the United States said Russia is running a multi-million-dollar disinformation campaign covertly using American influencers to interfere in the upcoming U.S. presidential elections.
Why on earth do we not seem to realize that someday, in the not too distant future, it could be our next on the block? And more importantly, why is there even the presumption that because the US government does not like something, somehow in and of itself makes that thing a bad thing? If I were to say that the Nigerian government or the Chinese government or the North Korean government or the Brazilian government doesn't like something, that in and of itself doesn't mean anything. So where does this idea then come from that the US government is somehow the arbiter of all that is good and just? So if the US government doesn't like something, then suddenly from a journalistic point of view, you are not supposed to like it. Where does that idea come from?
But also the infantile approach that the US is taking when it comes to, you're giving the example of Africa, also Asia, Latin America, saying that whatever RT says, then it's just going to be swallowed by people there, that whatever comes out of Russia's so-named propaganda machine, that African people, Asian people, well, they're not as developed to question it. So we have to protect you as a big brother. That is essentially what's being called out here in more flowery language, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's interesting how far back you can trace this very phenomenon you just touched on, where this idea that somehow there's this group of people whose minds are so underdeveloped, they're so unexposed and rural and quaint and basically not very intelligent. So big bad Vlad from Russia is coming to push propaganda on these poor, unprepared, sweet little darlings. And it's our job as the protectors of the free world to make sure that Count Vlad's terrible propaganda doesn't infiltrate the soft minds of these poor Africans and Asians who don't understand what's going on. You can draw this back as far back as the 60s, where every single African independence movement was hit with the same accusation, oh, it's Russia behind it. Kwame Nkrumah was accused of being a Russian agent. Patrice Lumumba was accused of being a Russian agent. Thomas Sankara was accused of being a Russian agent. Nelson Mandela was accused of being a Russian agent. It's a sort of fractal recurring phenomenon where anything that threatens an information or situational hegemony that the US enjoys is caused by Russia, especially if it's in Africa, because God forbid that Africans could actually have the brains to come up with their own ideas, ideologies, voices, leadership. Africans, as we all know, our brains are sort of behind the bell curve. We're not that smart. We're not very intelligent. So it has to be a white person who is putting these ideas in our head. That's essentially what the accusation is here.
One of its projects is a large online crowdfunding program in Russia, operating within RT and through social media channels to provide support and military equipment, supplies, weaponry to Russian military units in Ukraine. This includes sniper rifles, suppressors, body armor, night vision equipment, drones, radio equipment, personal weapon sights, diesel generators. While the crowdfunding campaign is out in the open, what's hidden is that this program is administered by the leaders of RT. Last week, our government revealed how RT launders information operations through unwitting Americans to covertly disseminate Kremlin-produced content and messaging to the American public. Today, we're exposing how Russia deploys similar tactics around the world. In Germany, for example, RT covertly runs the Berlin-based English-language platform Red, a successor to the now-defunct RT-Link platform Redfish. RT also secretly runs the online platform African Stream across a wide range of social media platforms. Now, according to the outlet's website, African Stream is, and I quote, a pan-African digital media organization based exclusively on social media platforms, focusing on giving a voice to all Africans both at home and abroad. In reality, the only voice it gives is to Kremlin propagandists.